So what do you do if a home is listed with a realtor and you're trying to do a terms deal with that property? Hey there, it's Chris Pre with Smart Real Estate Coach. I'm here for another Deal Structure Sunday with certified coach Steve, the famous Murnick, in High Six member, and Vanessa in usually in New York, but I think you're sitting on a nice balcony overlooking the water in Florida. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Nice. Nice tease for the rest of the community. Thank you for doing that. All right, so what we're going to do, I will share my screen here. I want the Wicked Smart viewers to see what we're talking about here, Vanessa. And while I'm doing that, and Stephen, you guys chime in as you ever, because I don't know who did what in the deal, right? And I'll ask questions. But while I'm calling this up, why don't you talk a little bit about the source, when that was, and then the time, a little bit about the time frame, because we'll hit a lot of the extra stuff in the deal structure overtime segment, but let's just bring them to the table, so to speak. Let them know what we did here.
Okay, go ahead, Vanessa. You want to get going on what the source was and how you found this lead?
Sure. So this is a seller that I found through a FSBO on My Plus Leads. I reached out to her back in, it must have been July or August, as a FSBO.
Okay,
that was my first contact.
July, just to give these guys perspective, so July or August, and you didn't get it signed till when?
Till end of November, and then got it under contract like 40, 50 days after that.
With a buyer.
Sold.
Cool.
Got it sold, yeah.
Yep, awesome. So to the point of how I open so the viewers can follow this, we will talk about in the deal structure overtime what transpired from FSBO to Realtor to what happened with that. Steve, let me ask, just because as a coach, I want to pull this together. Were you involved at the beginning of this? Tell me, you got to probably speak up when you were involved and what we might want to add to this besides what we'll talk about in the overtime.
Yeah. So originally when Vanessa had contacted Cynthia, who is the actual seller of this property, the owner, she ended up having an original call with her, collected some information, kind of get a feel about her overall situation, and then she booked a follow-up call. We had a follow-up call, the three of us, Vanessa, I, and Cynthia, and we went a little deeper into some numbers, how it is that we could help her. And at that time, I believe we booked one more call or maybe even like a viewing. And in between that time and the viewing, she decided to sign with a real estate agent. Does that sound about correct, Vanessa?
Yep, that's exactly what happened. She got nervous about the whole process, I think, and felt a little overwhelmed trying to do this on her own and thought it would be a better idea to get a real estate agent.
All right, so we'll stop with that teaser for the overtime, and then we'll take it from there forward with the actual seller and the star realtor who did some things. All right, so then because it's a sandwich, I guess I'd ask first, did you know it was going to be a sandwich, you guys, at the beginning, and why? And then let's talk numbers.
Yeah, so we didn't know what kind of deal it would be initially because I was really nervous to ask how much she had and if she had a mortgage, which I have learned since then to just ask the question.
Well, because you're new, right?
Yes, brand new. Like
good for everybody to know that.
20 days new.
Okay, good, even better.
So we didn't know at first because I was nervous to ask the questions, but we figured it out, probably around October.
Sweet. Okay, so let's talk numbers. We did the sandwich, and we did it usually when there's a sandwich. I'm going to repeat the obvious for you two, but for the viewers, it might be new. When there's a sandwich, we don't really talk price. We talk, what is your underlying debt, and what are you going to get out of it, if anything, on top of that? So on top of the 142,630 approximate mortgage, it looks like your quote unquote bought price was that 154,990. So she gets a difference in cash at the end, Vanessa?
Yes, she does. And I factored in closing costs for her, which she wasn't taking into account previously. So the number that she has in her head that she's getting after she makes a closing cost is about 10 grand would be what she would get it at cash out.
Sweet. What was she on the market for as a FSBO? And then if you remember, as with the realtor, and then we can just leave those numbers on the table.
It was identical.
How much?
It was on the market for 154,990.
All right, this is great because now when we pivot to sold, I want the viewers to know how and why this happens in the terms world. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, for a sandwich, we always focus on what are they getting for a mortgage? Sorry, what is the mortgage balance, and then what are they getting on top of that? Which in this case, it's 12 or 13 grand, less closing costs, blah blah blah. Right?
Yep.
Okay. So when you're talking to the sellers, for the Wicked Smart viewers, I'm saying this, not you guys. I know you know this now. When you're talking to the sellers, that's what you're focusing on: cash out, not price, cash out. So a great script is, what did you think you were going to get when you were the realtor? And as you'll learn in the overtime, probably would have been negative. Correct, you guys?
Correct.
Yeah. I believe if we remember correctly, what was it, 5 or 6% the actual commission for the realtor? So I ended up saving this buyer. I think it was around like 9 to 10 grand or somewhere around that number. Does that sound about right, Vanessa?
Yeah, it was at closing, she would have had to pay around 3 grand, and this way she has 10 grand in her pocket at the end of cash out.
Right.
Okay, there's the answer why a seller would do it that we get asked all the time. Okay, so let's pivot here and we'll go into detail on the overtime. So you sold it, you went up to the terms market at 185,990, looking for a rent to own.
Yes.
Okay, talk about that process a little bit, either one of you guys. How long it took, any ahas because this is your first deal?
Yeah, so
yeah.
go ahead, Steve. Go.
I was just gonna kind of prep you here. I was gonna say that when we brought this property to the market, I believe the first like what 15 or 20 days, you actually didn't have it on the market yet because there was a bunch of other stuff we were gathering. Am I correct about that?
Yes, I was learning. I had issues with putting it up because I didn't know what I was doing and it was the first time. So there was about a 15 to 20 day delay on actually marketing it.
Yeah, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you sold that property super fast, not even taking like an additional 20 days off the fact it wasn't even on the market. This house was just priced very well, and obviously, you know, we're bringing it to the property above what so-called today's value is, but for a rent to own price, it was right on par.
Yes, and the rental price was actually, I think, a little bit below market too, which
Mhm.
is why it was great. The purchase price wasn't as big as the issue because people who were normal renters saw 1,400, which is what we marketed for, plus taxes ended up being 15, 16 a month, and that was a great deal for them.
Okay, so bingo. Okay, so the buyers in this world, you just put a big explanation point on it. Look at the monthly. They don't pay attention to the price very rarely until you get way up in the higher end homes.
100%.
Okay. So you said, I guess we can dive deeper in the overtime, but you did say you were brand new and you know you're doing at the beginning. So Steve, and Vanessa, so what did you do about that in its simplest form? Did you go to back to QLS? Did you call Steve? Did you do both? How did you get yourself over the hump of, hey, it's my first deal? Like, you got to live and learn and be interactive as you go.
Yeah, I harassed Steve and Lauren is what I did. I was just harassing them all day long.
Yeah.
That's how I learned. So thanks to them for dealing with my harassment.
Well, but that's good for the viewers to hear, Steve, because as a starter, you get to do that. You get to call and he calls for you. For Steve, anything to add? Or
No, it's just it's super valuable. I can just look at it, Chris, when we were students and we were working with you. These are pivotal points in your business as an investor. When you get to you put all this work in to get to the point where Vanessa is, right? And then what happens? You get flooded with excitement, with nerves, with what do I do next? And it's super important to have someone to be able to just ground you and bring you to where you need to be and say, listen, it's okay to not know what you're doing right now. It's very normal, but listen, you have a team surrounded where we can go ahead and we can make this seamless. And that's what we did. And obviously Vanessa's learned a ton from this deal here.
love it. Love it. Okay. So we sold it. We got a payday one of 10 grand.
10K. Yep.
Okay. Pretty strong. So no other future deposits on that?
Yeah, we have future deposits scheduled based off of tax return timelines where they'll reach a total of 18,600 at the end of the 24-month period.
Is that down here? Was that just coincidental?
You might not even have added it in. You may just made some money there.
Yeah, I think we can come back to it, but so you got another, I mean, sorry, not another, you got another 8 grand or so. So it comes to 18.6 ish.
Yes, 18.6.
And
Yeah,
then
I just I included that all in payday 3.
That's okay.
That's my
So
B.
we'll,
Still learning, guys.
wash.
Still learning.
All right. So you don't need to know how to do math to do these. This is great. All right.
Clearly.
Your payment to the seller, which I think is going to be your mortgage, is this?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So are you guys paying that directly to the bank or paying it to the seller?
To the bank.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I was so happy you said that. We'll talk about that. Steve, I hope you're writing some of this down that I say I'm going to talk about in the deal structure over time, but we'll talk about why that's important. Payment from the buyer, 15, 16. So you got a nice spread there.
Yeah, it's a good spread. And it's important to point out it's a good spread, even though she has so little equity in. So even with a little bit of equity, we were still able to get a good spread because of the rental rates in the area. And it's good.
Yeah, the monthly's nice and strong. It kind of makes up for anything else, even though this deal's good on its own. Okay, so 18 grand there. Sweet. All right, guys, so let's continue. We're all the way down. We said that there was an extra 8,600 here, but we're going to pick it up at the end. I love writing with a mouse. All right. Then as we come down here, we put the 10 grand back in. You were left with a payday 3 of 29,604.
That's right.
Where did you account for this extra payday 1 here?
Oh my gosh, maybe I didn't.
You just
I
got
thought
it
in the difference it would
right.
be in price.
Yeah, because what you would have done is you would have taken it off as a deposit, but you would have got it up here. So you got 18 up here. It came off down below. You're about $8,600 off, Steve, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're
Oh
right.
crap. I am.
Yeah, but that's a good crap. So your 58,252 is like 66, whatever.
Almost 67. Yeah.
67. Now,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, so you're welcome. So that's 24 months though, Vanessa, to your point earlier, you were pointing out to me and Steve. So you're being conservative, you're being fair as far as the deal structure video goes and saying, hey, we're probably going to cash out early, but we got 12 more months, it could go.
100%.
Really cool. All right, guys, that's it for the Deal Structure Sunday. Head on over to the Deal Structure Sunday overtime at the Smart Real Estate Coach Academy so you can go ahead and fire up this episode because there are some other nuances, and I want to answer my initial question of what happens if it's with a realtor. Like, what do you do with these in this terms world? Now, if you have been watching these videos, you understand from just that quick clip that Vanessa was brand new as a starter. Steven is a coach and has cranked out probably more deals than any coach right now with their students. And you now can apply for starter. And if you're accepted, we have all kinds of cool payment programs. We didn't have them just a few months ago. So go ahead and go to smartrealestatecoach.com/apply if that fits you. But by all means, make sure you get registered for the next events. Vanessa and Steve, why should they be at the next event, whether it's business scaling or QLS Live or whatever it's going to be next?
Yeah, we haven't missed an event since we started. These events are literally the difference in the next 3 months of your business after that. It's so powerful. Every time we leave these events, it's like running through a wall. We feel like running through a brick wall afterwards. So it's just one of those things where they're timed perfectly for you to hit your quarters really strong after you leave them. I'll leave it at that.
How about you, Vanessa? Thoughts?
As someone who's new, it opened my mind to, and continues to open my mind to all of the possibilities of what real estate can be and what your real estate business could be. And so I think if you're hungry to learn anything, it's a good idea. That's why I show up.
Okay, so I'll leave this hanging too for the deal structure overtime. Vanessa, you live full-time when you're there in New York.
Yes.
And your first deal was done in Florida.
Yes.
Okay, we'll leave them on that. Hope to see you guys at the next virtual event. And Steven, Vanessa, we'll see you guys on the deal structure overtime.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for being on, guys.
Absolutely.